Wayfair direct. So I've never bought Wayfair. I've
Okay.
heard mixed feedback from people. I've heard some really cheap loads on the market. I've heard some
Yep.
really expensive ones on the market, different tiers as far as quality goes. So average, let's do average pallet count, average cost of the truck, and what kind of condition are we advertising these as?
Yep. So I would say average pallet count, I would say 17, but that gets you a full truck because you're dealing with furniture, so you got a lot of double pallets on there. So you're usually packed back to the door on the truck, but I would say your average count is 17.
Got it.
Average price, I would say 3,000 to 3,500.
Mhm.
I typically deal with two. Well, there's three types of loads. I don't get the overstock much, but we typically deal with salvage loads, which are going to be cheaper. They range from, I would say, $2,000 to $2,500 a load, and then we have the liquidation loads that we deal with. I would say they range from 3,500 to 5,000 a load.
Okay, now on the salvage trucks, obviously people hear salvage, we assume, you know, a way heavier of a damage rate. How heavy of a damage rate are you seeing, and is there enough there to, still be profitable?
Yeah, and honestly, I bring these into my warehouse pretty much every week, and I use them here. I would say, it definitely takes a lot of work to go through them. But I mean, there's times I'll get a truckload. Like last week, I had a salvage truckload come in from Maryland. There was a brand new $12,000 hot tub on there, right?
Oh,
So
shit.
a lot of times on these trucks, you can get one item and it pays for the whole entire truck. Like, right.
For
So, I
sure.
mean, yeah, you got to have a dumpster. You got to be willing to, throw some stuff out. You got to be willing to, it's not, if you're not willing to put in the work, it's not worth it. And I always tell people that,
For sure.
right?
It's a two to three
Yeah.
thousand dollar truck. You get what you pay for.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
You don't want
But I
the
mean, you
upfront
will get overstock. There is overstock in there too. Like people think, oh, it's salvage, it's all trash. You do get brand new stuff in there as well.
Okay.
And it goes with you get the box one, a box two, so like, and a lot of times, like, you just have to know how to capitalize on it. Like, look, if it's an ottoman for a sofa, right? You open it up, you sell the ottoman as a single piece, right? Like, don't throw it out, right? So, like, if you know what you're doing with them and you work the load a little bit for $2,500, like, they're money makers,
Oh,
right?
100%. How
Yeah.
much space would you suggest somebody have if they're going to take on a Wayfair, either salvage or liquidation truck, between the trash that it obviously if it's going to build up? I'm assuming my suggestion for furniture buyers is always to assemble the furniture. It sells better.
Correct. Yep.
But
100%.
then
Yeah.
that, obviously creates more trash and
Yep.
more space to set up. How much space do you recommend people have if they're buying a load of Wayfair furniture?
I mean, I would be comfortable with like to bring in one truck at a time. I would say 2,000 square feet. That most of my guys that are coming in here are doing flea markets, yard sales, and Facebook Marketplace.
Oh,
So for the bigger stuff, right? We have our whatnot customers that come in and our eBay people. But the
yeah.
guys that are buying the Wayfair, they're going to sell on Marketplace or at a flea market or at a yard sale.
Any suggestions for people before anything that you think they should know about before jumping in on Wayfair truck? I hate to ask this question, but what's the biggest complaint from people about them? Not because the load was bad, but because their expectation was here and, what it should have been here. What's something that, like, a common complaint that we can kind of get
I,
out the way?
yeah, I think for the Wayfair, the box one of whatever is the biggest complaint that we get.
Just
Um, you
people
know, and, and
throw it
I'm always
away.
honest with people. I'm like, look, you could get the whole set, you could get 3 of 7 boxes, right? But the goal is for you to figure out how to sell those 3 boxes, right? Whether you put it on Marketplace, right? There's always people looking like, hey, a piece of my sofa broke. I only need one piece. I don't want to buy the whole thing, right? There's ways that they need to market and move those individual boxes that didn't come with the whole set, right? That's probably by far the biggest complaint on Wayfair is the box count.